This is a Bitcoin daily chart, kind of zoomed in, but if we think about the macro picture of crypto right now, the direction in which we're heading, this area that Bitcoin's in right now is kind of a pivot point. It's really going to, I think, set the tone for the next leg up or leg down for all of crypto. So I'm really interested in this area, and I want to take historical data and just show, at least illustrate, the possibilities that lie ahead of us right now. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into the video, trying to determine, well, what is possible for the crypto market right now. We're going to talk about upside and downside, and we're going to take the historical data to do that. And what I want to do is, real quick, here's a total crypto market cap, just as a refresher, just as a reminder. The Bitcoin halving just happened. Here's previous cycles just to give you an idea. Here's the Bitcoin halving yellow line. Here's the Bitcoin halving all the way back here, that yellow line. We know bull markets start after that happening. Here's total crypto market cap. We're just kind of consolidating for months before and after halving. So now let's go and let's talk about the pivot point, this crucial data point that I think Bitcoin is in. And you wouldn't really think about it. We've been tracking about it. You wouldn't really think it as a macro area, but I'm going to explain why it is. It's this swing low to swing high. Bitcoin's at this kind of support area, and we've been there for, you look at these candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 6, 7 days, around a week. Now, this is a higher low Fibonacci support. We've been talking a lot about it in relation to this right shoulder setup. So a very short-term type of tracking, right? So left shoulder, head, we're hoping for a right shoulder at this higher low support, the bounce to the upside, to the neckline, $72,000. And then we have a $90,000 target out of that. That's how we've been talking about this support area. Now, there's no guarantee it's going to hold, but I want to talk about this as a pivot point now, because when we start zooming out on the daily chart, this is where I think there's conflict in the market, because first off, there's a ton of talk about this entire move being like this triple top, right? From last bull cycle. I mean, we're hovering in just last cycle's all-time high range. Bitcoin has not really escaped that range too much. We broke an all-time high, but barely at all, right? So this triple top type of deal. But what I want to show you is, what does failure look like here, and what does success look like here? Because failure or success is really what dictates what happens next, right? The continuation of the bull market, all-time high for Bitcoin again, altcoin season, which we're going to talk about, because this video is we're talking about Bitcoin, but this is the roadmap of crypto. So incredibly important, even if you don't hold Bitcoin. But this area, this Fibonacci, if we go to last cycle, I want to show you what failure looks like. And even the setup looks very similar, right? If we just look at this chart, right? Just kind of consolidating, obviously in a shorter time frame, but consolidating for a while, setting up a higher low Fibonacci right there, consolidating for a while, setting up a higher low Fibonacci right here. And that's what this is. So this is Bitcoin last cycle at the bull market high, from swing low to swing high. You can see Bitcoin made a nice move into all-time high and then consolidated to the Fibonacci. And if we look at the Fibonacci, Bitcoin was there for quite some time, consolidating. So we're talking before it even fell through support, it was there for a month in that range. Look at that. So there's a Fibonacci range. Bitcoin fell to the downside. We did not pop to the upside. So around 30 days or so, Bitcoin was in that range. Right now, we're around a week in. So on the short term, I just want to see how long this lasts. Does Bitcoin break above or below this area? But that's what failure looks like, right? Bitcoin fell below, and not only that, this was pretty much the beginning of the bear market, right? That fall, we had a bounce, and then it just kept falling. And what I really want to point out as well is Bitcoin, breaking that 200-day moving average at that moment as well, just boom to the downside. Now, that's what failure looks like, and it entered a bear market. Now, before we talk about what success looks like, I want to give a major shout out to a sponsor of today's video. It is iTrustCapital, everybody. Buy and sell crypto, gold and silver with your IRA. I have an IRA with iTrustCapital. I just want to mention that. I've had one for years. No monthly account fees. And by the way, if you go to their website, click the link in my description. If you click open account, This is like the main form to kind of get your account set up and going. Just go do that. It is so simple to set up an account. But going back here, no monthly account fees. There's no startup fees, so it's $0. Cryptocurrency transaction fees, 1%. So 1% crypto transaction fees. But the benefits in terms of if you're a macro long-term thinker in crypto, right? And you're kind of just trying to plan your long-term investment plan, your financial plan, and obviously speak to a financial planner. But the benefits, I would say, if you're trading crypto within an IRA across cycles, far outweigh a 1% crypto transaction fee for buying and selling, $50 for gold transaction fee, $2.50 silver transaction fee. So US-based client experience team. The team is awesome, friendly and professional care, non-commissioned. There's no sales, just here to help. And if you go and you look at kind of the crypto page, these are, a bunch of the cryptos that you can buy and sell within your crypto IRA. And there's so many tax benefits to it, everybody. So I highly recommend clicking the link, at the very least, learning more. Read about how it works, what they're doing over there, and the benefits of having one of these. So shout out to iTrust for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to these Bitcoin charts and crypto charts. If we go back, and I want to go back to 2 cycles ago, we've been doing a lot of comparison to this move right now on Bitcoin. We had a very similar move then as well. So Bitcoin, you see this swing low right here, right after the Bitcoin halving right around there, swing low to swing high, Bitcoin revisiting that rectangle right there. And if I get my brush just to show you, you can see right here, that's the higher low Fibonacci. Bitcoin touched it and bounced further into the bull market. And it did not hang out there very long either, right? We kind of touched it, bounced, touched it again, bounced out. Notice what Bitcoin was doing at that moment. Testing the higher low macro bull market door area for Bitcoin. And if we go to a weekly chart, you all know what that is, right? It's a bull market high to bear market low to this green area, that Fibonacci. It's breaking that area. Bitcoin at that moment retesting that area. What's so important about that right now is that's exactly what's happening right now. So we have a very similar move to that cycle 2 cycles ago, testing the Fibonacci retracement. And then on the daily chart, we have a very similar move, a shorter term, higher low Fibonacci right after the Bitcoin halving. So you see a lot of similarities there. And we see what success looked like, right? So that's failure last cycle. And then Bitcoin right here, right now, is it going to perform as it did 2 cycles ago and see a bounce at this upper end of this bull market door area, the big rectangle, that Fibonacci, and support at this smaller, higher low Fibonacci on the short term? It's like the biggest question I'm watching right now. What I want to discuss, though, is this. So here we are zoomed out on all this stuff that we're talking about on the daily. I know it's a lot going on, but this is just what crypto cycles look like on a Bitcoin daily chart. But I want to talk about, if we go to the Bitcoin dominance chart, we're looking for success. I think that's what everybody wants to see at the very least. And if we look at, well, when was this success? Back 2 cycles ago, off that lower high Fibonacci, or the higher low Fibonacci. That was around March, April 2017. And we go to a Bitcoin dominance chart, right? March, April 2017, right around here. What was Bitcoin dominance doing? It started falling. So we had success on the Bitcoin daily chart, meaning Bitcoin bounced and went into a bull market, parabolic bull market. And look at that chart too on Bitcoin. But while that was happening, Bitcoin dominance started falling. This is so huge because this is altcoin season. That's what it looks like. Bitcoin dominance is not falling during altcoin season, but altcoins just going crazy and outperforming Bitcoin. That's why I have Bitcoin dominance falling. So we're at a really interesting area now where you can see Bitcoin dominance kind of approaching what we've been speculating as altcoin season, end of summer, early fall, right? We've been kind of speculating that, approaching that area. If Bitcoin gets this bounce of continuation to the upside, right? So now we go back on the daily chart. We can zoom in again. We go back to the daily chart. If we get the bounce to the upside, this could be really altcoin season at the very beginning. And it will be interesting. The most interesting thing, if Bitcoin does bounce to the upside, will be to see, as that's happening, what is Bitcoin dominance doing over here? Is it falling or going up? And that's probably the biggest thing I'll be watching. I want to mention something because I think this is probably the biggest question on my mind, maybe yours as I'm discussing all this, is like, man, what if Bitcoin fails? What if Bitcoin falls to the downside? Is like, are we entering a bear market? Right? Because again, as I showed you last cycle, when we got failure on the Bitcoin chart, that was like entering the bear market. So if we get failure here, is it entering a bear market? Here's what I want to say. This is a shorter term Fibonacci, higher low support, right? If it fails, I don't think that's the immediate signal for bear market. But I will say this. If it fails and Bitcoin falls below the 200-day moving average, that's going to raise a flag at the very least for me. Because if we look in previous cycles around this time of the cycle, Bitcoin, and what I mean by around this time, right at Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin really hung pretty high above that red line, the 200-day moving average. We want to see it hang above all the moving averages. But that's last cycle, and then you see the cycle before that hanging above that area. Falling below that red area, that red line, the moving average, is a very bearish looking move on the macro chart on the daily. It just is. But that is not to say it's the beginning of the bear market. It actually happened last cycle. Bitcoin fell below the 200. That wasn't the beginning of the bear market. Bitcoin went higher, new all-time high. But even more compelling is this, and I'll end with this as a major reminder. You go to the monthly chart. As I've said time and time again, Bitcoin right now is like just over 60. It's like 70 days past the Bitcoin halving. Past the Bitcoin halving. 70 days. That's it. What just happened? Last cycle, bull market top, all-time high, 549 days after the halving. Cycle before that, 518 days. Cycle before that, 365 days. So maybe this cycle will operate and move in a way in which it has not done. And what I mean by that is it'll diverge from certain consistencies that we've seen. But I think we were way early still in this bull cycle. And if there's going to be retracement to the downside, I'm here for it. And I'll stick around for it, and we'll see what happens. But wanted to break down that data in a little bit of a different way as we are tracking this higher low support on Bitcoin, because I think it is meaningful when we start applying it to the macro. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. I appreciate you cruising through. I hope you have a good week, good start to the week. I have been so busy. That's why I've been kind of lacking on the videos, but we'll try and step up my game in the next week or so. Appreciate you. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.